Hello, I'm Mark Richmond from Chef Knives to Go, and today I'm going to show you one of the more popular items on our website and explain to you how to set it up and use it. This is the Edge Pro, and about a year ago we went to Sharpen, which is a stone manufacturer that makes really nice sharpening stones, and we had them do some versions of this stone cut to size for the Edge Pro, and they've been real popular. So this set that you see in front of you is the Edge Pro with souped up stones, and it's called the Edge Pro Essential Set on our website. The reason I call it the Essential Set is because I tried to put in the key items that would be perfect to make a good starting set. What I did was I just took out the items that were in the bag and laid them out here just to save a little time. The only thing you won't get is the knife. Everything else on the table is what you would pull out when you first got it. So let's go through and show you how to set this up, and then after that we'll start working on the machine. So this is the main part of the machine. Has little legs, has suction cups. I put this on a piece of granite that I had after our kitchen counters were made, but you could use a piece of glass or anything that would stick with these. You can also take these little suction cups off if you want and screw the Edge Pro right into a cutting board or a piece of wood if you wanted to too. But I like the way this works. It's easy to take apart and put back in the bag. So the second main part of the machine is the control arm, and putting this on is real simple. All you got to do is stick this right into the unit and then tighten it down so it doesn't come out. And you want the bar to be on the inside of the vertical post here, otherwise it's a little bit misaligned. As you saw, I just loosened this up and then pushed it down and tightened it back up. Okay, so the glass stones that we're using are three of them. We're using kind of a rougher stone, which is a 500 grit. And these are the micron numbers on here. This one's 29.4. This will come off real quickly. So we wrote the grit on the back with indelible ink. And this is the 1K stone. So you'd use this one next. Grits go lower, is more gritty, and the finer you go, the higher the number. So this is 1000 grit. And then the final one is the 4000 grit, and that gives you a nice 3-stone progression that'll work for most of your knives. For our site, we do mostly kitchen knives, but you can use this for all kinds of different knives, hunters or folders or whatever. Okay, and then a couple small items that aren't that necessary, but there's a little water bottle in there. I'll be using this to wet the stones. A couple things about the stones: you don't have to soak these, which is a real nice feature. All you got to do is wet them, and it's called splash and go. They require no soak, and that makes it very convenient. Also, I have a couple little accessories here. This is a spring, and we'll use this later, but not today. This little brass piece comes off. You can unscrew the ball, replace the spring, and make it so that you don't have to unscrew it to change the stones. You just squeeze this. But like I said, it's not necessary for us right now. And then there's a really strong little magnet that we put in here, and this you can put right on the bottom in here. I usually put a piece of tape in there and jam it up there, and it's strong enough to go and and hold the knife onto the table so that it doesn't move around. Again, that's an easy thing to put on. It's not terribly necessary, but it's fun to use. And then this is a drill stop collar, and this drill stop collar goes on this post here, and you can use it to make sure that each stone is at the same exact angle when you switch between stones. It's not necessary for us today because all the stones are going to be the same thickness, but as you use them, the low grit stone will wear just a little bit more quickly than the high grit one, and over time there'll be different thicknesses, and this will allow you to quickly adjust for that so that you're hitting the same angle as you sharpen between stones. Last thing is just a little cloth that they provide, which will come in handy for me when I'm getting the surface wet here. The only thing that I'm going to use today that isn't in the bag is this little Sharpie. You'll see how I use this in a second. It's for the edge. So let's get going. We've already set up the machine, if you can believe it. That was all that was really required to get it going. And then we're going to use our 500 grit stone, and we're going to place it into the Edge Pro bar here, like that. So that's it. We're ready to go. All we have to do is put some water in here, adjust this so that it holds the knife properly, and then we're going to sharpen. So the way to adjust this, this little guide, is you want the guide to push against the spine of the knife so that there's just a little overhang. So when the stone comes at the edge, it doesn't interfere with the bottom here. So we just loosen that and then tighten it, and that's about right. This particular knife that I'm using is an ideal knife to demonstrate and to practice on if you were to start. I usually recommend that you start with a knife that you don't care about as much. There's not much you can do wrong, but it's better to practice on one that is pretty easy to use and that you don't care about. So this is a Santoku. It's called the Richmond Artifacts. My last name is Richmond. I designed this knife. It's pretty inexpensive and it uses good steel. It's relatively easy to sharpen, and the reason why I like this particular blade style is that it has very little belly, and the belly, when you hear that term, means the curvature toward the tip. Some knives have a lot of belly, which is a lot of curve. This knife is very flat all the way through. It basically stays along a flat line with just a little bit of belly up at the front, and that makes it a little easier to sharpen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I'm going to just mark the edge of the knife. And you can get carried away and you can do the whole thing if you want, but once you know the angle, and this will give you plenty of room to know the angle, we just want to try to remove that entire mark of the edge, and that will tell us where the exact angle is for the machine. So you're going to do that once on this side and then probably once on the other side. Usually they're sharpened at about the same angle, but sometimes they vary. And then I'm going to put the suction cups down. Just put a little water on here so they stick. And then we're going to juice up the stone here. If they start to dry out over time, you can just add a couple of drops of water and you're good to go. Now I'm going to place it in the machine, and I'm going to try to hit that mark. Now I look at this and there's still a black mark close to the edge, and the area behind that was just removed by the stone. So I know that I need to adjust this up a little bit. That way it'll go closer to the edge. So we're going to just move it up just a little bit and we'll try again. This is something you only have to do once on the knife, and once you have it, then it'll go quickly after that. The thing is, if you are sharpening behind the edge, you won't get the knife sharp right away. It takes a lot longer to grind down the steel until you basically reform another edge. It's called thinning the knife, and I'll talk about thinning later, but for now, we just want to sharpen it. So I still see a little bit of mark, but we're closer. So I'm going to raise it up a little more. Alright, so that's good enough. Looks like I'm taking off the whole mark here. So now all you do is you start at the one end. You're going to draw it back and forth. You don't want to use a lot of downward pressure. I'm just basically holding this so that it doesn't jiggle off the knife edge. Almost zero pressure. The arm itself has enough weight on it. And if you start to push, it's natural to think, oh, I got to grind it and I got to push down hard. But it really affects your results. You'll tend to have better results if you just use very light pressure, just enough to control the edge. And as you can see, I'm sharpening basically right over my platform here. You can extend it a little bit beyond the platform, but the further away you go, the more you start adjusting the angle out, and the more you start having a chance of making the knife tip up and down, which both would affect your results. So you move over, do it some more. Now as we get to the tip here, I'm going to adjust the knife handle downward a little bit so that the tip area pushes up away from the platform so I don't run into the platform. So I'm just going to go like this, just a little bit. So that's the idea. I'm not going to go through the whole shebang with you, but you're going to want to sharpen until when you run your finger right across the back of the edge and you draw it away from the edge like this, you'll feel it scratch your finger. And that is called a burr. And you want to sharpen the knife until you get a burr all the way along the edge. And right now, I have a burr here, 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 and I don't have it right here. And as you probably just saw, I didn't sharpen a lot up here. So I would just do a little bit more here until I got a burr all the way up, and then I would switch the knife over and do the same process going this way. You want to the way to remove the burr, you have to get rid of it because it's basically a little flap of steel. It's simple. All you got to do is just flip it over and then lightly draw it across. And you will get rid of the burr. And then you can start sharpening the same way. You want to keep going till you get a burr on the opposite side again, and then you want to deburr it again, and then you want to go to your 1K stone and do the process over again. It's really important when you first start to do enough work on the first stone before you get excited and go to the next stone. The reason for that is the lowest grit stone that you use is going to do most of the grinding work, and you have to get that edge ground properly. Otherwise, the finer stones aren't going to be able to do the job. So in a lot of ways, this low grit stone is the most important stone that you're going to use. The other stones are helpful in taking out the scratches and the imperfections that this stone gives you on the blade edge. And it refines the edge, it takes a little bit of the toothiness out of the edge, and keeps it sharp a little bit longer. You'll feel the difference, and you can experiment. You can try sharpening just with the 500 and then deburr it and try cutting with it. It'll be very aggressive, but the edge won't hold up very long. As you refine the edge, it'll become less aggressive, less toothy, but it will have a refined edge that'll last a little longer. So anyways, that'll get you started on the Edge Pro, and I will add some more videos to add these accessories and give you some more tips on how to get good edges. I'm Mark Richmond. Stay sharp.